I've been keeping something from you, and I'm gonna confess it today. As you know, I've been working on my solar panels for the last several months. I say several, maybe 2 months, month and a half. And I have gotten tons of complaints. Now, on the other hand, I've gotten tons of compliments. I don't know what to do. I mean, they always say you can't satisfy everybody, but the audience is really confusing. I'm an off-grid channel. I feel like I should be talking about solar panels and chickens and water, but then people will say, oh, you're repeating yourself. All you ever do is talk about solar panels. But that's what an off-grid channel is. They live off solar panels. And if you're educating and you're teaching, you should be teaching something new every day. And I've been trying to do that. But I had one complaint the other day that I need to eat on camera my canned food. Well, first of all, I have fake teeth. I make them my own. I've actually showed you how on a YouTube video, how to make your own teeth. Of course, I got a lot of people who unsubscribed that day, so I won't ever do that again. But these are just cosmetic teeth. They're plastic. I can't really chew with them, so I take them out when I eat. So I'm not going to eat on camera without my teeth on. Besides that, if you want to watch somebody eat, then go to a review channel, maybe a restaurant review channel. This is an off-grid channel. I don't understand some of the requests I get. You know, why don't you fly a plane? Well, I don't know how to fly a plane. Well, you should learn. You know, I'm being a little bit sarcastic, but one of these days I expect somebody to ask me to teach them how to fly a plane. There's literally pilot channels out there. So I've been showing you how to install solar panels, and I've been going in a lot of detail. Bought 2 new solar panels, bought another charge controller. We got that shed built. Carolyn did that. We transferred all the batteries from this old camper and put them into the shed. This fall, we're gonna knock the old camper down. We wanted to do it during the summertime, but there's been a lot of snakes this year. And I saw one kind of slithering over there by the camper, so there could be one underneath the camper. I'd hate to get in there and get into a nest of snakes. I mean, there's been a lot of snakes. I don't think any of them have been poisonous, but I don't want to find out. So we'll wait until it cools off, and then we can take the Sawzall. And she wants to save some of the 2x2s in there, but we can cut them off. I'll get a multi-purpose blade. That way, if we hit a screw, it won't hurt the blade too bad. So I've transferred the batteries over there into the new shed, charge controllers, the inverters. I've talked about volts and amps and watts. And I just recently made a video and I've shown you the generator. So we have 2 generators that you know of. We have this little Power Smart. It's a cheap thing. It was $2.99, 1,500 watts, and it really can't do much. I can use it for the battery charger. So I have a battery charger. It's a store-bought battery charger for your car. You go to Walmart, you go into the car section, and you can buy them. I buy them off Amazon. It's a 2, 15, and 25 amp battery charger, and I have 2 of them. The generator can run one of them on 25 amps, or 2 of them, one at 25 amps and one at 10 amps. Now the big generator could run both of them at 25 amps, but that little one, it just doesn't have a lot of power. It cannot run the freezer, so in the past, if I needed to, I could always disconnect the house. So this right here, this plug, this cable right here goes to the house. I used to be able to unplug that and plug it directly into the generator, the 2,000 watt generator, one that burned up on me, and I could run the house while I'm doing whatever I wanted to do with the batteries. But I can't do that anymore with that generator. Now we have that bigger generator. We got the 2,500 watt dual fuel generator, but I've kind of put that one up for storage. I don't think we need it too much anymore, but if an emergency ever came up where something happened to the solar panel system, I could easily yank this one out, hook the house up to this one, and it would run fine. I would use gasoline. Propane makes it run faster. It just runs faster on propane. So I don't know what the RPM's in, but let's say it's 2,000 RPMs on gas. It would be probably 2,500 or 3,000 RPMs on propane. So my fear is it's actually being used more for the same amount of electricity. The house just doesn't take that much electricity, so why run it that fast? So I would run it on gas, but when we use propane, we use it on the well. That's when I was using this the most, is before we could run the well off the solar panels. I would use this, and I put propane to it because the gas would go bad in 2 weeks or so. I mean, it'd take a month to use that much gas on the well, maybe 2 months. So it would sit there for 5 or 6 days. That's starting to risk that fuel going bad and hurting the carburetor. So I would run it on propane. So I got the 2 generators. Now one of them I leave out here all the time. This is a little one. I leave it out here all the time. And I use it for cloudy days. Again, I just use it to charge the batteries. Start it up. I got this cable that runs into the shed, and that plugs directly into the battery charger. I should have showed you that when I was in there. Now this one is quite a bit louder. It makes a little bit more noise than that big one. It's an inverter generator, and I like inverter generators, but it's just not insulated as well. It's not terribly loud. It's not as loud as the lawnmower, but it is louder than that dual fuel generator on gasoline. When the dual fuel is on propane, they're about the same noise level because again, it's got to run at a higher RPM on that propane. I don't know why it does. I do know that propane gives less BTUs per measure of unit than gasoline. I would imagine that it just has to spin faster to get enough power out of it. That 2500 watt generator actually produces less power on propane. So it's not 2500 watts on propane, it's something less. In the wintertime, I run the battery chargers quite a bit. There is a downside to my system. There's an upside, but there's a downside. Many people will tell you to get lithium ion batteries, and I'm just not a fan yet. People, no matter what I say, you're gonna get those people who absolutely love lithium ion batteries, and they will come into my comment section and chew me out and tell me how stupid I am. I don't feel like I'm that stupid because I can make lead acid batteries work just fine. I know the van lifers, people who live in vans, love lithium ion batteries. But that makes sense. If you're in a van, it kind of does make sense because your batteries are inside the van. You don't want lead acid batteries inside a van. Now we had a battery inside our camper. You shouldn't, but we did. And I'm not making excuses. I know what we were doing was wrong. And I'm not even suggesting that you should do it, put it in the camper or the van. It's just the way we did it. Didn't have many options available to us, so that's what we did. So it was inside, and so when it charges, that acid in there will start to bubble. It's not too bad normally. When you fill the batteries up with water, distilled water, and you overfill them, they will boil off a little bit, and that's when you really smell it. I just filled one the other day, and it made everything around here smell. We could smell it up at the house, so it does put out some fumes when it was charging. But at nighttime, when you're asleep, it doesn't put out any fumes because it's not bubbling, it's not charging, it's depleting actually. There is an advantage. The other advantage to having lithium ion in a van is you never get below freezing in a van. The van, I would imagine, you're gonna keep warm. We kept the camper warm. We were in the camper, we wanted to stay warm, so we kept it warm. Lithium ion batteries cannot be charged when they're frozen. Now, some of these really expensive ones I think have heaters on them, but think about that. You're heating your battery, so you're using energy from your battery to heat your battery. It seems a little, I don't know, not a good idea. I mean, you gotta have a battery for your battery. But here, our batteries are not in the house. I don't intend to put them in the house. I intend to keep them separate. And the primary reason is if the house caught on fire, the solar panels would be fine. If the solar panels caught on fire, the house would be fine. I don't lose everything. I lose quite half, but I don't lose everything. It would be quite detrimental to lose all of it in a fire. Now, we've had a fire. We know what it's like to be in a fire. The camper caught fire. Somebody burned it down. The house is more susceptible to burning down in the wintertime because of the wood stove. I don't think we'll ever have that problem. I'm being very safe with it. I make sure the chimney's clean. We use just dry wood. There's no creosote in the chimney, so we're in pretty good shape. We could have a spark come out and catch something on fire, but the thing is we're always in the house. So if we smell something, we immediately get up and we investigate. The electric system is at great risk of catching fire. I've walked in there before in the camper and seen wires get overheated and melt, and there's a big risk. If that caught on fire, the house is still saved. We still have the generator that we can use to run the house if necessary. Now, just sitting here thinking about this, I do have that generator underneath the shed. If the shed caught on fire, I would lose the generator too. So maybe I'll take that generator and I'll put it in the well house. That'll be a completely third place for it to be. That way everything's isolated to its own fire. There's two reasons why we use lead acid. One is in the wintertime, they don't freeze. You can still charge them in cold weather. And the second reason is they're cheaper. Now people will say, no, they're not. You can buy a lithium ion battery for $1,000, $800, and they last 10 years. That's fine. I can buy one of these batteries. I'd actually have to buy two of these batteries for $200 to equal the same amperage. So lithium ion battery would be 100 amps. A 100 amp battery lead acid is only 50 amps. You can only use half the battery, so you gotta have two of them. So that means $200 and they last 5 years. 10 years, $1,000, $200, 5 years. So even if I had to replace these batteries in 5 years, that's $400 in 10 years. $1,000 10 years, $400 in 10 years. So to me, it's just cheaper. The other thing is I can buy them at Walmart. I don't have to order them. I don't have to try to understand them. To me, it's just the way I want to do it. But wintertime, I do have to charge the batteries more frequently. Now I'm going to get another battery, maybe two before wintertime. The reason is all batteries, not just my batteries, but all batteries produce less electricity in the wintertime. You take your phone outside, sub-zero temperatures, single-digit temperatures, and your phone dies within 10 minutes of use. Normally it lasts a few days, right? Maybe all day. In the wintertime, your car doesn't want to start. Now, a lot of people seem to think that's because the engine is got more friction in it, and it does. The oil's thicker and different things. But the primary reason is because your battery just can't produce as many amps in the wintertime. It doesn't hold on to them. As soon as it warms up, it works again, but very difficult in the cold. So in the wintertime, I get these batteries pretty low. The other disadvantage in the wintertime is there's less hours in a day. So I'm not even getting as much charge. Now the thing is I only need about 4 hours for the batteries to charge if they're completely depleted. That is not the problem. When the sun goes down at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you got longer to get through the night. That means that refrigerator is cycling more at night because it's just longer nighttime. In the summertime, I'm running off solar panels for my freezer until 9 o'clock. And then there's the last reason is there's just more cloudy days in the wintertime. For whatever reason, I've noticed, I don't even know if it's true, but I think there's more cloudy days in the wintertime. So we run this quite a bit more in the wintertime. But I've learned something, which is the secret that I've been keeping from you. I used to get up in the morning and I would start the generator, charge the batteries completely, and then at night, I would have to start the generator again and charge the batteries before I went to bed. In wintertime, or even on a really cloudy day in the summertime, that's what I would always do. After I've gotten all this figured out, I run the well, all that stuff, I've figured out that I only need to run it once during the day. Even if I run the well on a cloudy day. So I get up in the morning, it's cloudy, I don't start the generator like I used to. About 9:30, it's still cloudy, I go ahead and fill the water tank with the well water. That really depletes the batteries. But the thing is this solar panels are producing enough electricity to get me through the day. Even though the batteries aren't charged. It's not charging the batteries, but it's producing enough to get me through the day. So at nighttime, I just have to come down here about 4 p.m., start the generator, charge the batteries, and that's all I'm doing. I'm not having to run my house off the generator. I'm just charging the batteries back up. It's just disadvantage of being a cold environment and a cloudy environment. So that's the secret. I apologize for keeping that from you. A lot of people have been asking me, why do I have a generator anymore? Because I just talked about a generator recently. If I have got solar panels all figured out, well, you're always going to have a backup power supply if you're on solar panels. Something. Even if you just have a turbine for a stream. So if you'll click this up next box, take you to a video where I'm showing you why a homemade windmill is not a good idea. So if I can inspire you to figure out the kind of batteries you need so you live your dreams. Thanks for watching.